Hi, welcome back to another video. I wanted to talk about the concept of identity and how that changes when you are diagnosed with a chronic illness or you go through a life change. I don't really have a script or I don't really have it planned out what I want to talk about. I just wanted to talk about this topic because I feel like when you go through something so life-changing as getting diagnosed with a chronic illness, it's very hard on you and a little bit on those around you to sort of still see you as you and you feel different because things are different. And it's something that has affected me in the sense that I have changed a lot since I became ill. And I don't think that it has been like I'm not myself anymore. I just think that certain aspects of me are more defined. I'm a lot more strict with a lot of things in my life because I have to be, because I have to look after my health and I have to make certain decisions that I wouldn't have to make normally, and certain priorities, and a lot of things have to be different. And obviously that changes you and the whole experience changes you, and some part of your identity is not the same anymore. And you feel the need to talk about it all the time because it's so much to process. It's such a big thing and it's so life-changing and you need to talk about it. So it happens that you start talking about that subject all the time and people start thinking that your whole identity now is that thing. For me, it was fibromyalgia, and for a while I talked about it all the time because I felt it so strongly, and it was affecting my life in so many aspects. Like literally every aspect of my life was different and was new and painful. And it was hard, A lot of things were bad, but it also made me more grateful and more appreciative and a lot more respectful of myself, And it made me really appreciate self-care and it made me love myself more because I realized that I was way too hard on myself before. And I realized that now I finally allowed myself to be me. And I finally allowed myself to give my body a break and allowed myself to be in pain and to struggle. And that made me appreciate my body and my mind and my achievements so much more, than I did before. Because before when you're healthy, you're always sort of aiming for the next thing. And when you're not, you realize that all you want to be is healthy. All you want to do is not be in pain. And you appreciate those days and you appreciate the good things that life gives you so much more, So in a lot of ways, I have changed for the better. And I think I'm really proud of myself, and I really fell more in love with myself than I ever felt before. And I feel happy pretty much every day because every day I wake up and I decide that I don't want this thing to win. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to fall into depression. I don't want to. I refuse to be upset about it. So I choose every day that I will not be. And some days that choice is made for me and I can't take the choice that I want and I am sad about it and I am feeling down and that's okay. But whenever I can, I try to just choose to be happy and choose to look at the good things and to look at the bright side. But that's not what I was talking about. What I mean about the identity thing is how much and I think the reason healthy people don't really understand this is because they have a lot of things going on in their life. And normally, if they're stressed or whatever, maybe it affects a lot of parts of their life, but not really. They can sort of compartmentalize. Whereas when you have something so life-changing as a chronic condition being diagnosed, and you have to change all of your habits because everything makes you, be in pain and everything is just not working and you have to change everything, and the way you look at everything. Yeah, it is everything you're thinking about. It is constantly on your mind, and it's the only thing that you can focus on, because you don't feel like you. You know, when I first got diagnosed, I didn't feel like me, and it did take over for a while, and I think that's really normal. I did the right thing by letting it do its thing and change everything, and for me to realize what was going to change and how and why and all of that stuff. Because I think a lot of times people try to ignore these things and try to pretend like everything is fine when everything is not fine, and you need to acknowledge it, and you need to let it, and you need to live with it, you know? Anyway, so when you are going through something really life-altering, it is normal that that thing becomes a part of your identity. So from now on, always, fibromyalgia is going to be a part of me, because it's something that is going to be with me every day. And it's really hard to not feel that way, because every moment of every day I feel pain in some aspect, even if it's very little pain, but I feel it every single day, and I feel all of these symptoms all the time, you know? I don't always have all of them, but I have to be more careful with everything. And it doesn't matter, like, in order to get to the point where I am now, where I feel a lot healthier than I did a few months ago, I had to compromise so much. I had to learn to respect my body, and I had to go through this process. And the thing is, I'm never going to be, it's not something that I did that, I'm fine now, I can go back to my life. It's not like that. I have to keep up with all of these new habits and all of these new routines in order to continue feeling like this. And that's where it changes your identity, because you have to become different. It heightens everything. It makes you more sensitive, so you have to be more careful. And I'm never going to have the choice to not be careful. And of course that becomes a part of my identity, because it's going to change me. And that's okay. And I think in a lot of things I have become better. Of course it always changes your identity. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And it's normal that it becomes a part of you, because now you feel it all the time. It's always there. And it has changed you forever. And that's okay. You know, that's okay. And you have the right to talk about a thing that has changed you so much. And you have the right to feel like it is a part of your identity. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you forget all of the other parts of your identity. And I think that's where people go wrong, or where this happens, where this sort of change of identity became a negative thing, is because people then focus for so long on just that illness or that condition or that thing that changed them, like they can't allow other parts of them in. And I think that's where I have succeeded in a way, or so far, is that although it absorbed a lot of my energy for a long time, now I am exploring interests that I always wanted to explore more, but I didn't have the time, or I didn't have the energy, or, you know, whatever. And of course that those interests came in to substitute the interests that I had to give up because I couldn't do them anymore. There was a lot of things that I didn't have time for, I didn't do, because I had other things going on that I enjoyed more. And that was fine, you know, and I was really happy that way. But when I had to give up dancing, it's very hard to have to give up everything, something that is such a big part of your identity, actually. But I made peace with it, you know, I mourned my loss, and I moved on. And now I developed or reacquired other interests that I had put on the side because it didn't go with what I was doing. And that makes me really happy. And obviously it's not the same thing, but it is something that was already an interest of mine, and I just grabbed it and brought it back, because I think you have to mourn the person you were and the aspects of yourself that you lost to the illness. And I did that. And I do that whenever I learn of something new that I have to give up, or something new that has changed that I haven't realized yet. And I do that, and I mourn, and I have to let it go, because holding on to those things, it makes me worse. You know, it makes my mental health deteriorate, and that will then be worse for my body. So you have to be very forgiving, and you have to be willing to sacrifice certain things, and you don't have a choice, I think. But in regards to identity, I think it's about living through that time where everything is changing, and it's very important to allow that change to take place, because a lot of people talk about fighting illnesses, and I think with chronic conditions, you don't fight them. It's a losing battle, you know? At least the way I see it. So I think it's about living with the condition and creating more original and imaginative ways to work around it, you know? If you can't do something in a way, maybe try it a different way. And if you can't do one thing that you really love, go and find something else that you really love and do that, you know? Because we're not like one-dimensional. We have a lot of interests and a lot of things that stimulate us, and we can pursue multiple things. And by pursuing things that you enjoy that aren't harmful for your health, you then start to feel better, and that makes you happy and stuff. It's really important to go through that period where you are sort of surrendering, and you are mourning your losses, and you are figuring out what the hell is going on, and you feel really overwhelmed. And I think that is really normal, and that is something you have to go through. But then don't stay there. Keep going, and then find those interests, bring them back, and create a new identity where your old personality is still there, but you have new interests and hobbies and passions that align more with your health needs. And I know that sounds like giving up and a lot of people think, no, I'm going to be the person I was, and I can't let this illness change me and win. And newsflash to you, it already has. Like, it will change your life. And if you want to feel better, and if you want to like feel healthy again, you have to accept the illness, and you have to let it change you. Not in everything, you know. I'm not going to now be a depressing person. I'm not going to be sad. I was always cheerful and optimistic, so I'm going to keep being cheerful and optimistic. But, you know, that doesn't change. I'm still me. All of the things that you need for your health, make them enjoyable to you. That's what I mean. I don't mean to like just give up and like, I don't mean that. I mean is that if you have a health condition that will not let go, and that will be with you for life, all of the things that you need to accommodate for your health, make them enjoyable. Identity is such a tricky subject, and it's such a tricky like aspect of chronic illness and chronic conditions in general, that people just like, I think people just don't want to change and don't want to stop being themselves. And I think that you need to look at it in a different way. You have to think, okay, my health comes first, but how can I adapt my personality and my taste and my interests to my health? How can I like connect these two things? And you will find a way. Like, you just have to keep looking for ways to be you and still respect your body and respect your health. I think it's important in chronic illnesses, to surrender to the illness in the sense that you are not fighting a losing battle, and you are putting your health first, but not to the point where you give yourself up to it, you know? Make it your own. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, and maybe comment, let me know what you think. I don't know. Very rambly video. But yeah, let me know what you think. Yeah, and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. That'd be very appreciated. Yeah, so I will leave you now. I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.